Back on, ladies and gentlemen, it's a mega CNN News 18 exclusive, big development this. And it's just in that Pakistan has written a letter to Afghanistan to arrest Maulana Masood Azhar, the terrorist Masood Azhar, the head of the band Jaish-e-Mohammed. According to the text of the letter written by Pakistan Foreign Office to Afghanistan, Masood Azhar is possibly in Nangarhar and Kannada areas and that he should be found and informed and arrested. Sources say that the letter for the arrest of Masood Azhar was written by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Pakistan has refrained from talking about the issue, saying it is a sensitive matter. So, source in Pak Foreign Office claims that the letter has been written ahead of the arrival of the FATF on-site team in Pakistan. The FATF team has been briefed by Pak authorities that Masood Azhar is not in Pakistan. He's fled to Afghanistan long time ago. That's the information. But the Indian intelligence agencies and top sources telling Arunima that this is just hogwash. अपने citizen को अपने घर में ढूंढने की जगह दुनिया भर को चिट्ठियां लिख रहे हैं. That's what is the response. Arunima joining us live. Yes, Arunima.
So, you know what Indian agencies are pointing out that if you recall how the Sajid Mir arrest episode happened. Sajid Mir, mastermind of Mumbai 2611, Pakistan told the international community constantly that he is dead and therefore he can't be arrested. Suddenly, when the FATF tightened the screw, and then suddenly Sajid Mir was found and he was found visiting his mother and he was convicted on terror charges. This is the same script that is being played out. That's what the Indian agencies believe. They are convinced that Masood Azhar is not only in Pakistan, but Pakistani agencies led by ISI are providing him with safe house. He has been repeatedly cited going to Rawalpindi hospitals for dialysis. He's believed to be in Bahawalpur safe house there. So to now write to Afghanistan saying we believe he's in the Nangarhar province is just to play to the gallery as far as FATF is concerned. Once again, to give you the Sajid Mir comparison, just before Bilawal Bhutto went and met Anthony Wilkins in the United States, Sajid Mir's arrest was shown. And this letter also, we are told, has been written before the FATF's visit to Pakistan. FATF's visit would have led to Pakistan get off the grey list, but they had to comply with certain basic things, and Masood Azhar's arrest is one of those. That is why this farce is being carried out. That's how Indian government officials are.
Right. Thank you for your inputs. Arunima, I've got Vikram Singh ji who stayed back after the debate, and we'll have Brahma Chalani ji, Sushant Sareen, and also Tara Karta ji joining us. Namaste and thank you for joining us on such short notice. This letter just coming in at CNN News 18, accessing the text of this letter that's been written. Vikram Singh ji, this Masood Azhar and another Al-Qaeda person who you had arrested. So
it's ringing a bell that way back in 1996, 3 American citizens were kidnapped under British national, and they, after an encounter in Saharanpur, Inspector Dhruv Lal Yadav died and a constable. These hostages were freed, and Sayyid Muhammad Umar Sheikh, number 2 of Al-Qaeda, was arrested. And it is a matter on record that after some time an Indian Airlines aircraft was hijacked from Kathmandu, taken to Afghanistan, Kandahar, and there the external minister exchanged Sayyid Muhammad Umar Sheikh, Azhar Masood, and a third terrorist for our passengers in the Indian Airlines aircraft. So that is the depth of this individual, that everything orchestrated by the ISI. Look who is behind. What is the strength behind these 3? ISI, and then you say ISI, the deep state of Pakistan. To Pakistan to come out with this kind of hogwash and nonsense that yes, you're writing to Afghanistan, nothing happens in Afghanistan without the knowledge of the ISI in Pakistan. Some people even went to say that Afghanistan is the newest state of Pakistan. Therefore, to write a letter is what is known in the ISI language, pesh bandi, to give yourself a clean, a so-called clean image before the Financial Action Task Force, which will not cut any ice with them. But the fact of the matter is that Sayyid Muhammad Umar Sheikh murdered Daniel Pearl in Pakistan. He is still wanted. Azhar Masood is also in Pakistan. And as Arunima said, that his movements, it is not possible for a person to go underground, especially of his level. His speeches, his movements are all documented. And therefore to say and wash his hands of the case, Pakistan has too much on its hands to get away so cheaply like this.
Bro, Masood Azhar, Rauf Asghar, they will not designate him a terrorist, and that's because the Pakistanis put pressure on the Chinese to exert their veto at the UNSC. And now they're writing to Afghanistan saying, fork him up. Brahma Chalani ji, such big hogwash, why should this bluff not be called? And should the FATF fall for this?
Unfortunately, the FATF is likely to fall for this. The reason is American support. In fact, at the last session of the FTA, the
FATF.
report of the Financial Action Task Force said that Pakistan had actually cleared its mess in most matters. Only a couple remain. In other words, Pakistan is close to exiting the grey list on which Pakistan has been since 2018. So this whole drama that we are now seeing is drama linked to the approaching plenary session of the FATF next month. In October, there's going to be a plenary session of the FATF. And before the plenary session, the FATF is supposed to conduct an on-site visit in Pakistan. Pakistan is a large state with the deep state in charge, and an on-site visit is not going to clear anything. Yet, thanks to American support, and we have seen American support in other areas too. We have seen the recent F-16 deal to modernize Pakistan's F-16 fleet. We've also seen how recently, with American support, Pakistan secured $1.17 billion from the IMF. It was an immediate disbursement so that Pakistan could avert a debt default. So it's because of this Biden embrace of Pakistan that Pakistan very likely is going to be dropped from the grey list, and that will really be injustice to all the victims of Pakistani terror, including those who died in Mumbai and Pathankot and elsewhere. So this will be a travesty of the way institutions work. They're driven by geopolitics, and geopolitics is again working in Pakistan's favor, allowing Pakistan to maintain its close nexus with terrorist groups and yet reap rewards.
Ji. But Sushant ji, Afghanistan should write to India that Pakistan wants us to find a citizen. We are unable, so we've got a security cooperation going on. So why don't you come and help us find Masood Azhar?
And that is precisely what is likely to happen. I think what the Pakistanis have done, apart from the FATF and everything else and trying to throw dust in the eyes of everybody, this is something the Pakistanis are past masters at. But look at two things which my fellow panelists have not spoken about. One, by saying that Masood Azhar is actually in Afghanistan and he's taken refuge out there under the Taliban. The Pakistanis are effectively throwing the Taliban under the bus. And that's pretty clear to me. Secondly, what they're also trying to do is precisely the question which you asked, that now the pressure will be on India. That listen, why don't you guys, talk to the Taliban directly? And this is not that there's any love fest happening between India and the Taliban, but do you not think that this drives, or this is at least an attempt to drive a wedge between whatever attempts are being made between India and Afghanistan or the Taliban to try and get into some kind of a modus vivendi, have some kind of a working relationship, some engagement? How much do you think this fouls up the waters and muddies the waters between what India and the Taliban are trying to do? I think it does significantly, provided India falls for it. Now, the third thing is, of course, that it's rather rich of the Pakistanis to say that we don't know where Masood Azhar is. For donkey's years, he's been living in Pakistan, and the Pakistanis have been saying, we have no idea where he is. Everybody knew, and everybody's aunt knew where Masood Azhar was living. But the Pakistanis didn't seem to have any idea. Then Masood Azhar went to Afghanistan last year to felicitate the Taliban leadership. He went to Kandahar. There were reports of that. Are they saying that he never came back? If they came back, why did they not arrest him then? And I think what Arunima said about, the whole Sajid Mir affair, the way, it was played out, that the man was declared that there was no such person. Then he was declared that there is a person, but he's dead. Then they even found his grave. Finally, they came alive and they said, no, that is not his grave. And then they finally shucked up the guy.
Correct.
So, if after all this, the people in FATF are going to be fooled by these shenanigans of the Pakistanis, then I think what Brahma Chelani is saying, that all of these organizations are basically, tools for an agenda which has nothing to do with terrorism. These are organizations which are there for using terrorism as a tool, a geopolitical and geostrategic tool. And it's not against terrorism per se. They have no problems with terrorism, provided that terrorism doesn't hurt them, does not affect them, and if that terrorism works in their favor or helps them get close to a potential partner, then I think they'll simply close their eyes. They've done it in the past, haven't they? They've done it with the Khalistanis. The Canadians are still doing it.
Correct.
The Brits are still doing it. The Americans did it in the past. They've done it with the Kashmiri terrorists in the past.
Well, they trained Osama, so as long as it serves a means to them, then it serves a purpose. Right now, do they want to control Shamsi Air Base? Do they want to ensure that, or is it because Shehbaz Sharif is trying to curry favors with the Americans?
But I think, Anand, I'll just take half a second more. I think what is important is to realize that this probably, by throwing the Taliban under the bus, I think it also shows that there are growing differences between the Taliban and the Pakistan. I think those problems are only escalating. They're not ending anytime soon.
Correct.
And I think the Pakistanis sense that maybe by going towards the West, by fooling the Americans all over again, and the Americans are ever ready to be fooled by the Pakistanis, especially the US State Department. I think what they are signaling is that, okay, fine, they're calling off that, not entirely, but substantially, they're calling off their Afghan misadventure. They are going to go with the Americans. They desperately need the money, the weapons, and every other goodie which comes from America.
Right.
And the Taliban are simply not going to be able to compensate them for all the stuff which they potentially can get from
the fissures between Afghanistan and Pakistan was evident even at the Asia Cup. The reactions itself and what's happening, and it's still not stopped. It's still going on.
That was at a people-to-people level. This is at a
no, but even how the administrations reacted politically, the reactions that came through also very clearly showed that there is no effort to try and thaw things or calm things down. But both sides took their positions very, very clearly. But Taraji, do you agree with Sushant Sareen, Brahma Chelani, that the Americans are now trying to move back with the Pakistanis and they're going to fall for it all over again? Or the Afghanistan being thrown under the bus, Taliban being thrown under the bus?
No, this whole thing is definitely, it's rather a joke. It's like the leopard asking the cat to return the mouse. I mean, what is this? Right? So, no, I don't think the Americans are fooled at all. Nobody is fooled by Pakistanis anymore, which is why the intriguing question comes as to what Brahma said, that they have given them the F-16 sustainability package, they've given them the IMF deal. What is this in return for? I mean, that is what we need to ask. Was it the delivering of Zawahiri to the Americans? I think that is the interesting part. But the having assumed that obviously they will do this, and FATF is leaning on them very badly, so they will try anything they can to get out from under that deal. So all they have to do, and which Anand they've done many times before, is that they just push these guys about 20 kilometers across the border, and they say, oh, they're in Afghanistan. So they've done this many times before. It's not something, but we need to take care of. Nobody's fooled by it. But I think Sushant is also right in that right now, the Americans have got something out of them. That is what we need to look at. What did they get out of Pakistan? That they are willing to swallow this kind of stuff. And whether that will indeed lead, as Brahma said, to getting them off the grey list. I hope not, because this is going to be a very, very dangerous thing if this is what they're allowed to get away with by saying, our guys have all gone across.
No, we should.
Now, you also got someone like Sirajuddin Haqqani, who immediately after Zawahiri was killed, comes right across and sits along the border. There's a bunch
fled to coast. He fled to coast. Yeah, they all fled to coast because he thought he will also be taken out. He was actually looking for a drone that will take him out, because if Zawahiri is being taken out, they'll take me out too. we should actually capitalize on that. Our intelligence sources are saying that this is all hogwash and they're calling the bluff, Taraji. But the other part is that should we not turn around and say, listen, the Pakistanis will throw anybody under the bus, Zawari, Azhar, and turn these jihadi groups against the deep state itself.
Yes, I think that is in fact a very good suggestion. We need to put that about because it's true. There's no need to make the story up. It is clearly true that these guys will sell. They have, Musharraf actually said that in his book, that that he got money in return for terrorists. The dollars came and pumped into Pakistan in return for each terrorist they handed out at various times. But this is, Masood Azhar been writing to the Taliban is it's beyond being a farce. I don't know what else to call it. But and I don't think the Indian government is going to fall for it at all or let it at all affect their actions in Afghanistan, whatever it may be in future.
Well, maybe I have to wind up on that note, because maybe then if the FATF really falls for this bluff, then we should call out the Americans and we should actually say, my God, you couldn't see through this, and you're going to be the leaders of the world. So that's the bigger question. So you have to play this psyop. But big development, this, ladies and gentlemen. This letter has been written, multiple angles to it. We'll continue to track the story. But for the moment, I thank all our guests and winding up this edition of The Right Stand. Zakir Reddy with Brass Tacks.